Is restrictions of media violence hindering our First Amendment right? This question is one today's society must answer. Yet this answer has to take into account the impressionable minds of children. Children whose lives are surrounded by the media.
The dichotomy between good and evil is a very popular theme in entertainment media. Since good guys are always fighting with evil, it gives filmmakers a great excuse to use violence. They're good guys who are all good. They can do whatever they want because they're all good, including really awful things.
Violence is justified within the media. Justified in the sense that violence on television is usually represented by that of heroes. These heroes are depicted in part in a positive light, usually because they fight and win against evildoers. James Bond, Superman, and countless other shows of his kind teach that violence by good guys is not only justified, but even heroic. The U.S. National Television upon Violent Studies shows that 61% of programs contain violence, but only 4% had anti-violent themes. With this 61% of media violence, children have no escape, and they are unable to distinguish from right and wrong.
In 1999, two psychologists, Barg and Chartrand, came up with a theory regarding priming called automacity. It states that because we cannot possibly distinguish every object or event we encounter in our daily lives, we use automacity to lump objects of a similar nature together. Much of our behavior is therefore automatic and performed without much thought. It is possible that viewing justified violence primes individuals, thus leaking into our everyday behaviors in ways which we are not aware.
TV ratings are made for everyone. Using your television's parental controls along with the TV ratings found on each program gives you the power to choose which shows are suitable for your family.
Opponents of media regulation argue that it's up to the viewer to decide what to watch, stating that if you don't like violence on TV, then turn it off. Likewise, there is technology on the market, such as the V-chip, that blocks violent programming, although many children claim that the V-chip is easily bypassed. A study done by UNESCO on global media violence shows a remarkable consistency in children's television viewing habits across 23 countries. The study showed that of 93% of children who attended school, more than 50% of their free time was spent watching TV. Of that percentage, only 43% of parents monitored and prevented their children from watching unsuitable programs. If parents are unable to monitor their children, then how effective can the V-chip really be? Reiterating this point, South Park demonstrates this take.
The machinery of the V-chip is very simple. It is placed under the child's skin, where it emits a small shock of electricity whenever an obscenity is uttered.
Now, wait a minute. This chip somehow knows if the child is swearing?
It's just like a lie detector. You see, certain things happen to you when you swear, just like when you lie. The chip picks up on this and gives the subject a little prick. Patient B5, would you step out here, please? Patient B5 here has been fitted with the new V-chip.
Oh, my head hurts.
Don't worry about that. Now, I want you to say, doggy.
Doggy.
Notice that nothing happens. Now say, Montana.
Montana.
Good. Now, pillow.
Pillow.
All right. Now I want you to say, horse.
Go ahead, Eric. It's all right. Horse. That hurt,
Now I'd like you to say, big floppy donkey dick.
No!
Success! The child doesn't want to swear.
This isn't fair. You send a baby.
We will start putting V-chips in all our children next week!
Violence within the media takes on many forms. One way it is commonly utilized is in the form of humor. The media accomplishes this by trying to construe the idea that violence is funny into the audience's minds. For example, the Roadrunner, Tom and Jerry, and the Simpsons' own Itchy and Scratchy are cartoons that manipulate this effect. A study done by the University of Birmingham showed that 42% of violence was associated with humor. Why is violence used as humor so popular and promoted among our society in this day and age? The question arises that should this type of media strategy be regulated, or would that be violating one of our core values of the Constitution? An argument raised by many who disagree with the documenting policies and regulations upon the media state that it conflicts with the Constitution, specifically that of our First Amendment right. But where do we draw the line between violation of freedom of expression and fair regulations to maintain violence within the media? Yet on the other hand, if society compromises their rights to the government once, it is possible that these compromises are bound to happen again. Will that end up undermining our rights to the First Amendment? The threshold in media violence today is being pushed further and further. With the introduction of the hero, the ideology of violence has become greatly distorted. The acceptance of violence through heroes is evident with children taking aggressive measures against bullies at school. These aggressive outlets are further instilled because of our human trait of priming. This inert, mental state will be further promoted if media violence is not increasingly regulated. Opponents, of course, have countered with their First Amendment right and the option of parental control. Finding a compromise to media violence is going to be an ongoing process. However, before the impressionable minds of children are lost, we must decide what is more important to us all. But who are we to say that media violence is ruining our youth?
Get off the camera! Don't use that! Don't use that!